Welcome to your class, Working with Investors, Finding Deals. We do have a special sponsor for you. We do have Bill with us this morning with CK Capital Management. Whenever you're ready, Bill, and it's regarding short sales, you're actually one of the best sponsors we could have had today. Take it away. The floor is yours.
All right. Thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Bill McCormick with CK Capital Management. We started our company over 20 years ago, believe it or not. And all we do is we facilitate short sales. We work with realtors all over the country. We've been a Miami Association of Realtor affiliate member for the last couple of years. And our primary goal is working with realtors that have listing clients that owe more than the value of their home and they're in some type of financial distress. So what our objective is, number one, is to help that homeowner sell their property, walk away from a bad financial situation with no future payment obligation. All right. Majority of the mortgage companies now allow a homeowner to basically walk away from the shortfall amount. The lenders report the debt as settled, and the lenders agree to report that settled debt to the credit bureaus as settled. So it's not a long-term impact to a homeowner compared to, let's say, a bankruptcy or a foreclosure on the credit. I will tell you, in the Southern Florida market, things have been crazy these last couple of years. But believe it or not, Miami-Dade County, and I'm sure those of you on this Zoom class today do business there. Miami-Dade County actually has one of the highest foreclosure rates in the entire state of Florida. So, the market's changing. And what we're seeing right now is people that got into a competitive situation in the last couple of years. And if they got a mortgage, they were in a competitive situation. They may have overpaid without plans for some type of financial distress. Financial distress that we see job loss, we see divorce, we see death, we see medical illness. Those things happen at the height of the economy and they happen at the bottom of the economy. Way back in 2006, 7, and 8, we were doing a bunch of short sales in the Southern Florida market, and particularly the West Coast over in Cape Coral. So those opportunities are there. If those of you have not facilitated work with a short sale homeowner before, there's a great opportunity out there to differentiate yourselves. Okay. We have a satellite office over off Las Olas Boulevard. Our main office is up in Wilmington, Delaware. And for those of you that are interested in learning more, I'm teaching 3 upcoming continuing ed classes through Miami Association. I'm doing one down in Coral Gables on August 8th. I'm doing another one in Broward County on August 23rd. And another one in Broward County on August 30th. So the 8th, the 23rd, the 30th. If you're interested, just go online and through the Miami Association, you can look for upcoming classes. And again, what I will do after this class, I typically get a list of attendees. I will send you some information on our company. And if anybody has any opportunities or questions, we're more than happy to help. All right. Thank you so much. You guys have a great class today.
Thank you, Bill, for all of that great information. I believe his info will also be available in the chat. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you. Have a good day, everybody.
Okay, everyone, let's go ahead and jump into it. We're going to get started on miamirealtor.com. And the first program that I'm going to jump into in order for us to search for deals is going to be inside of Matrix. So I'm going to scroll to the middle of the page and I'm going to select the Miami Gateway. This is going to give you access to all of your products and services. And from within this page, we're going to locate a few different programs that we'll be using today. So we are going to be using Matrix and we are going to be using an additional program called iMapp. The first half of the class, we will be using Matrix, iMapp, as well as RPR. Now, each of these classes have their own, or each of these programs have their own classes that I do want to motivate you to take. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and jump into Matrix. From here, we're going to start our search. So I'm going to move into our search bar and I'm going to go into RE1, RE2, where we can begin searching for single family or potential condos for an investor. Now, some of the ways that I want to show you how to search is going to be searching for an REO. We're going to be looking at some short sales. We're also going to be using some tips on how you can locate additional properties that may be going for a good price. Maybe they are a handyman special. Maybe they are flagged as a property that needs some TLC, some tender love and care, which could in turn give you a pretty good price on a property that you can purchase, which at this time can be a little difficult being on how the value of properties on the market have increased to such a degree in the last few years. So we're going to go ahead and begin. I'm going to scroll to the bottom of the page and I'm interested in adding in some additional fields. So I'm going to click on the button that says add, and that's going to give me a list of all of the available fields that I can begin to search. Now, some of these are going to be that REO field. So we're going to click in the search and we're going to type in REO. We're then going to select the term and click on add. Once we've clicked it on add, it's going to be part of our board. So another option that we want to look up, we want to go ahead and search short term or short sale. So I'm going to select the short sale filter and I'm going to click on add. Moving down, we're also going to move into the word remarks. So the remarks we want to choose is the basic remark, description of the property, and click on add in the middle. The next one we want to look into is maybe possible restrictions. So I'm going to move into our results, click on restrictions and click on add. And then the last one I'm going to go ahead and put in there is auction. So I'm going to do auction, yes or no. And then I'm going to click on add. So if you want to take a picture of this screen, you can, so you know that you can come back and add these in. From here, I don't have to click on save. I can simply click on back and they're ready to go. I'm going to scroll to the bottom of my page to access the recent filters that we've created. The first option I'm going to look into is REO. Does anybody know what REO stands for? I'm going to click on the drop down arrow and I'm going to select yes. REO stands for real estate owned. That means the bank already owns this property. The property was technically foreclosed. From there, it went to auction. That property was not purchased during auction, and the bank has reassigned it to a realtor to sell it on the market. So we gone ahead and selected yes, and we have our matches of REOs that are available. We have 109 matches. From here, let's go ahead and break that down into county. So I'm going to scroll up and I'm going to click on Miami-Dade County to take a look at what we have. And so far, we only have 30 available REOs that are either a single family or a condo. As I move through here, I'm now going to click on Broward and we have another 30. Okay, so between Miami-Dade and Broward County, let's go ahead and take a look at our situation. We have 60 matches. I'm going to move up and I have active. I'm going to go ahead and move into single family and I'm going to click on single family once again. You do have your condos, right? Those are available too, and those can be a property that maybe you would like to purchase and rent. But the first example or the first exercise that I want to do is going to be a flip. And sometimes when it comes to a condo, you'd have to live in there at least 2 years before you can begin to rent it. That's something else you'd want to think of. We have 20 matches. I'm going to click on results. And from here, we have some of that information. So the first thing I want to do is I just want to verify that my listing price is in order. So I'm going to click LP and it's going to put it in order for most economic to the most expensive REO on the market for my search. I'm then going to click on the images, take a look at the pictures and see how these properties are looking, what shape are they in, and sometimes you won't have much, right? So for example, this property, I have no insight on how it looks inside. You also have access to property history. I think very important to go ahead and take a look at what has happened with these properties. And then I can move into that MLS number to preview my listing. So some of the things that I want to take a look at is I want to take a look at, of course, my list price. I want to verify if there's an auction coming up for this property. It is a 2-1. And as I move through here, I'm going to move into the remarks where I'm going to find that important information to how I can work this deal. So this is inside of a community, 55 and over neighborhood, bright bedrooms, tile throughout the home. Owner is occupying the property. Seller required 10% down. Please use showing assist by appointment. But I don't have a lot of information regarding the deal, right? So I would have to go ahead and reach out to the listing agent for additional information. In some cases, some agents will go ahead and add in attachments, which you could normally find here to preview and review the property. Let me move into another deal. I'm going to move into number 2. Okay, here we have another property that is available. This is for $340 in Broadmoor Manor, active. Here it says REO, yes. This is a 2-1, pretty small, at 925 square feet. Let's take a look at some of these images. Okay, and it does look like, of course, we would have to put in some money, quite a lot of money, to update this home. If I'm interested in quickly being able to pull comparables when reviewing property, our go-to or your go-to could be iMapp. So you have iMapp right above the images. It's the small I that you want to click on. From here, it's going to take you directly into the product page or the property page inside of iMapp, and it'll give you some details. So for example, our current owner is Federal National Mortgage Association, right? So you can see that the bank is now the owner of this property. As you move down to where you see sales information, you can verify that it's a certificate of transfer. So whenever you see that type of deed certificate of transfer, you know that it's an REO. Price point at 100. And we can see that Jean Baptiste has lost the home to Federal National Mortgage Association. Okay. If I wanted to continue to verify, I can move up and to the right. This is going to give me access to finding comparables. So I'm going to go ahead and click on find comparables and see if I have anything available. So whenever you pull comparables inside of iMapp, you have your subject property information nice and tidy on the top left-hand corner where you can find your folio number, address, last sales price to the bank, 311-100. They took it January 26, 2023. We have your market value, your assessed value, and your total land area. We have our square foot, bedrooms, baths, year built, and stories of the home. We also have projected sales price. You're going to have the range of price point based on value ratio. So the value ratio is based on market value. So you don't want your market value and your price point by square feet to match. Why? Because that is the value that they use to tax the home. Whenever we're looking at comparables, you want to look at the estimated range based on price of square foot. So based on this market, which we're in a seller's market, The lowest price point, $394,500. I'm not even going to look at this. My eyes are going to move between $409,200 to $423,900. Anything, of course, close to the lowest point, better for me. But I'm looking at, okay, back into Matrix. It's listed for $340. Our comparable is letting me know that $340 is well under the lowest price point from my comparables, right? And it can go all the way up to $423,900. So this may be a good option depending on how much money I need to put in order to get it to resell it. Moving through here, the criteria that I'm using when I'm verifying or reviewing property is the following. You're going to take your lot size and you're going to click on the drop down arrow and you're going to look for plus or minus 20%. You're going to do the same for your living area. You're going to click on the drop down arrow and you're going to look for plus or minus 20%. The next section, it says located within half a mile. We're going to go ahead and click on here and you have a few options. If you don't have, or if you have many comparables, you can squeeze yourself into in same subdivision. And then, of course, in the last one, I want fresh comparables. So I will start with sold in the last 3 months. I'm going to update my criteria and see how it pans out. Based on this criteria, I have nothing. So I can go ahead and readjust. I'm going to readjust in the following ways. Instead of in the same subdivision, I'll do in the same within the half mile. And then sold in the last 3 months, I'll move it into in the last 6 months. From here, I can update criteria. With the updated criteria, I do have now comparables that I can review in the area. And I have another tip for you. Right next to update criteria, you have a button that says set as a default. You want to take a moment to click on that. Why? Anytime you come back into Matrix, you can go ahead and click on that iMapp icon within any of the properties that are in Matrix to pull the comparables and your criteria is ready to go. As I move through here, I do want to analyze what comparables are being pulled. So from 1 through 5, we can tell that 4 of these have been sold by a realtor and that there's one that was not. And most of the time, the property that is not sold by a realtor tends to be an outlier. So that means that property is either sold significantly lower than the other properties. Technically, most of the time, that's what happens. And you can verify that information because there is no R, right? That's flagged with this comparable number 3. You also have the last sales price at $270,000, which is throwing off my comparable significantly. I have anywhere from 360, I have 390, 412, 400,000, but this 270 is really throwing it off. So I'm going to uncheck it to remove it from my comps. Then I can move back up and I can see, okay, anywhere between 304,000 to 423,900, I might be able to turn a profit on this property. So iMapp, is it to say that this is your best program to do a comparable? There is many, and each of you will find your preferred program. But when I'm reviewing properties using Matrix, iMapp, I believe, is one of the easiest and fastest ways to get an idea of a value. If I want to send it to a customer, I can. On the right-hand side, you can either email this page, or my preference is I can save it as a PDF and submit it through my email so it doesn't go out through iMapp, but my customer gets it from me. Okay, so this is the tool that we're going to be working with. Move back into Matrix. All right, I'm going to go ahead and move into another property. So this could have been maybe one of the options. Here we have additional information about how to work this deal. So it says this is a Fannie Mae property. The seller must comply with HUD Guidelines 24 CFR 206 dot or period 125. So what does this mean? This has some rules and regulations, and I believe one of those rules is that it is non-negotiable, right? So I believe that the set price is $340, but let's go ahead and open up a new tab with a quick little Google search, see what it pulls for us. Okay, we've got what does HUD guidelines mean? And as we move through here, the property cannot be sold under the listing price, no negotiating. The seller will never turn on the utilities for you to fully inspect the property. So there is a risk, and there is certain risks that you do take when you're making this kind of investment or interested in purchasing these types of properties. Moving into the next property, here's a good example of reviewing attachments that may be available for you. Anytime that you do have an attachment, I would take a moment to click on them and see what you have. So for example, they've listed for us the seller's disclosure. And sometimes you can see any of the things that may have an issue on the property. Either on the land, on the roof, with additional remarks from the seller. So always very, very good to click on your attachments. The next area that, of course, you want to take a look at, as mentioned, is going to be a combination of remarks, broker remarks, and towards the bottom, I would also take a look, of course, of compensation. Moving back into our agent single line. So I'm going to click on agent single line. Another option that you can include when reviewing these properties is you can add in an additional row. So I'm going to select or place my mouse in the column that I wanted to add the row. So next to address, I'm going to move my pointer. It's going to turn into from a little hand into a cross with arrows. This is when I can click and I can insert a column. From here, I'm going to go ahead and add in DOM for days on market. Now, DOM grid is going to show me how many days on market it has been. So I'm going to add in apply. As I move through here, I now have access to see, well, how many days has this property officially been on market? And maybe, depending on rules and regulations, if it has been on market for a significant amount of time, I'm wondering why. Is there a possible code violations that happened where maybe somebody has not been able to purchase that property as of yet? Okay, the interior here is not too bad. This could possibly be another property that you can review. I also want to show you that you can be in this situation even with properties that are significantly high in their price. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and do another exercise. I'm going to move into my criteria. And the next section that we want to talk about when it comes to REOs is inside of iMapp. So I'm going to move into iMapp by clicking on iMapp up at the top. And we want to review, I guess, the whole story, right? So we looked at our REOs inside of Matrix, and from there you saw 30, maybe 30 in Miami-Dade, maybe another 30 in Broward County, 100 some within all of the MLS or our sector. But as our sponsor mentioned, there is many other additional REOs that are on the market. They just have not been, or foreclosures that are in the market, they have just not been unloaded by the bank as of yet. So the next thing that I want to do is I want to show you that picture. I'm going to move into foreclosure search. And from here, I'm going to simply stay in Miami-Dade County. I'm going to look at property use code. I'm interested in, let's see, a single family home, right? And then I'm going to see how many foreclosures are available in this section. Okay, so we have 3,371 results of different properties that are being foreclosed on, right? They're not REOs yet, but they're in the process of a foreclosure. So could you look at this as potential listings? Yes, you can. Could you negotiate? Maybe you can negotiate a more aggressively with a property that has still not been auctioned off or has still not been assigned to an agent as an REO. Yes, of course you want to go in with a plan, but here you have 3,371 results. Okay, let's go ahead and change this up. Can you be as aggressive with negotiations for a good deal if they have just started the foreclosure process? Maybe not. So you want to add in a date. So I'm going to click on refine this search. I'm going to move into my filing date and I'm going to go back a year. So I'm going to change this to less than or equal to, and then move back a year. All right, we'll go ahead and do July 1st, 2022. And here we still have 1,525 results, but this has been in the process. Here we go, filing date 2010, right? January 9, 2012. These have been in the process a little bit longer, meaning this could possibly be a better outcome for us where we can contact them and be a little bit more aggressive with our negotiating. Now, what would you have to do? You'd have to maybe find their phone number, find additional information to contact these individuals, and of course, have a plan. So I'm going to move into refine this search. And these are pre-foreclosures, right? They're being foreclosed, but they're not REOs. Let's see how many REOs are actually out there. And you can do that. So I'm going to move into tax search. This is a way that we can find out the bigger picture. So let's do owner name. What if we did owner name and we added in the word bank? Right? The bank is the owner of that property. And I'm going to move into specific property code. In today's class, I'm specifically interested in that single family and start search. You have 263 results where the owner, here you have Wells Fargo, Bank of New York Mellon, right? Where they have that property. How can you do better? I'm going to refine this search. Another option for a bigger picture is simply click on that drop-down arrow and look for REO. REO or bank owned would be the filter that you want, and you can change that to yes. And that's going to show you all of the property where the bank is the owner, because there's some banks that don't have the word bank in it, in Miami-Dade County. And I'm going to click on start search. So here there's 244 results, right? 244 results in Miami-Dade County. All of the the foreclosures that have not been assigned to REOs are in the thousands. But what is on the market? 100 plus. Why? You don't want to affect the market in such a negative way. REOs affect property values all around them. Why? Because they tend to sell lower. So of course, they go ahead and they unload these REOs at a slower pace. All right. If we're already talking about REOs, let's go ahead and move into another type of search. That search is going to be a short sale. So even before that property is assigned to an agent, before the bank purchases the property, before the auction happens, if you are in distress, a realtor can come in, you can come in, assist that family, and do something called the short sale, where the owner already knows that they owe more money than what they can pay, right? They're in debt and they need assistance. So I'm going to go ahead and show you that search. We're going to scroll down. go ahead and clear my search. And we're going to look at the short sale filter. So I'm going to click on that drop down. I'm going to click on yes. And from here, I'm going to scroll up. Make sure that I'm looking at active properties. I'm interested in maybe Miami-Dade County. And how many short sales do I have? I have 9. I have 9 properties. So I can go ahead and click on results. And from here, I can start looking at the properties that are available for me to review. Okay. I don't have a big pool of property here as of yet. So I'm going to add in additional criteria. So I'm going to move into criteria. Let's take a look at both Miami-Dade and Broward County. And even then, guys, we still have 24 matches. So clicking on results. All right. I'm going to go ahead and put this in order. We'll do from most economic to most expensive. And let's take a look at one of these properties to review. Let's take a look at this property here in Hialeah. It's dated. I think this steps down. It's large. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. So I'm going to click on the MLS number. List price, $500,000. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 2,751 square feet. Great property for rental income or starter home consisting of 3 bedrooms, 3.5 baths. Property has some legal additions. We did see some of the areas step down. Can be rented out. For details, please contact the listing agent. Property is subject to lender's approval. Please do not disturb property owner. Owner occupied, previously listed. Previous list price, 700,000. Original list price, 320. Interesting. Let's go ahead and take a look at the property history. Okay, originally listed. It was on there for 320. That might have been an error. Well, no, it went under pending sale. They upped the property to 500,000. Pending sale active, temporary off the market, active. Increase the price back to 730. Decrease the price, decrease the price. Total days on market, 229 days. Okay, so from here, I'm looking at maybe the potential lowest price. Highest of what they want. And it is a short sale. And sometimes the owner does want to walk away with something. Let me look at the supplemental remarks. Subject to lender approval. Please contact the listing agent. All right. Moving into iMapp. Okay, we have it as a quick claim deed, 340. Let's move into find comparables. Okay, so we have our information set from our previous analysis. We have lot size plus or minus 20%, living size plus or minus 20%. located within half a mile, sold in the last 6 months. And we go anywhere from 512 all the way to 734, average price 623,300. Moving through here, I have 2 comparables in the last 6 months. All right, now we'll stay within half a mile. I'll take criteria. Okay, so we have potential here. Still high in price, but let's go ahead and do an analysis of it. So we done an overview of comparables. We're going to move into matrix, and I'm going to move into an additional program. I'm going to look at RPR. I'm going to click on RPR, and it's going to take me into the property page of this listing. Okay, we'll try one more time. Okay, it's signing in. If you have never signed into RPR before, we do have an RPR class for you, and it is going to ask you for you to create an account the first time. So you want to take the time to be able to do that. And then here within RPR, we're able to see, okay, we have a list price, 500,000. And then the system has also analyzed it and given us a valuation of the property, 641,110, right? Still significantly higher than the list price. And we do have a range here, 551 all the way to 731, based on maybe some of the upgrades that we can make on the property. It does say that it's a pre-foreclosure, and they have a confidence score of the analysis that they've done. RPR is giving it a 4-star confidence score, which is good. I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to click on a button that's called Evaluate. And this is going to allow me to analyze a potential investment property. And what I want to do today is I want to see if I can flip it. So I'm going to take a second. I'm going to click continue. But before I move into this, you do have additional assistance that you can get from RPR. It says view training here. So I'm going to click on continue. This is going to take me into Evaluate tool. Now, if this system asks you to upgrade, you do not have to upgrade. What it wants you to upgrade for is basically for storage, but you can always skip the upgrade. And if you need to do an additional analysis, you go into File. You go into Manage Files, and you delete whatever you don't need. So if you don't need it, you simply delete it like this. And you don't have to do an upgrade. Okay. So let me go ahead and exit out one more time, click on Evaluate, and continue. From here, what do I want to do? So it already has my address up here. And it is a single family. And it's going to ask me, do you want to flip, or do you want to analyze this for a long-term hold? Do you want to do a detailed load, or do you want to do a quick load? For this example, I'm going to click on flip. I'm going to scroll down, and this is my property name, and I could do a scenario name. So it's going to say analysis. I'm going to do flip. Here's my square footage is available here. Here's my price points. So it's been on the market for quite some time, and I'm going to update this. So I'm going to change it to, what if I shoot my shot for 475? And I enter that in. And then here it says full year holding costs. So one of the options that I have to look at is going to be taxes. So where can I look? I can move into matrix. Okay, and we do have 7,248 tax reflects homestead. It does. So let's go ahead and move back in here. And then your day-to-day, maybe your electricity, maybe your water. I'm not sure if you're going to do maintenance, but for me, I just want to do a quick flip. I'm not going to have the lights on all the time. I'm not going to be in there showering or really using it too much. So I'm going to do 12,000. And I'm going to enter. Now you're asking me, how are you getting these numbers? How did you decide on 475? How did you decide on your costs, right, of maintaining the home for a year? These are estimates that I'm making. Whenever you are interested in working something like this, you should have go to the property, do your due diligence, make sure these properties don't have liens on them or any issues with them. Walk the property with someone who can assist you, a professional, someone who's done this before. If you're interested in getting into this game, you do want to build a solid team. So I'm giving you estimates and ideas of how you can plug in these numbers so that you can see how the system works. All right, so fiscal year. When am I going to purchase the house? When will I have access to this home? So August is in a few days, so I'm not going to get this August 1st. But for the example of the class, I'll go ahead and put in August 1st. And my hold period, I'm hoping that I can sell my property within 6 months. And then I have a loan to value ratio. So let's say I got a hard money loan and they've given me, I don't know, 70%. I'm going to enter that in. And then my interest rate is probably higher. So I'm going to put in 10%. And then it says here, number of equity partners. So this means you have either 1, 2, or 3 individuals who are going to give you the money to, who are going to put together their money to purchase this home. So for this example, I'm not going to overly complicate. I'm going to do that there's 1, and I'm going to click on the button that says submit. Okay. Now from here, I still have to add in some additional information. So that information is going to be under purchase and sale on the top. And where it says purchase and sale, I'm going to add in that I'm going to put in some money for renovations. And the money that I'm going to put in, I'm going to do 80,000. And then I'm going to click on enter. And I do have an additional warning here, and it's just telling me that there is a mismatch. So I'm going to have to add this amount that I'm putting into the property into my cash flow. But before I do that, let's say I'm also going to add in closing costs. So I'm going to put in there another estimate. I'm going to do 3,000. And then anything else I want to add in? Yes, I want to add in how much I'm planning to sell the house. So the system has put in for me 712,500. So this is the estimate that the system has generated for me. And then I still have to add in my selling costs. So what money I need to pay the brokerage. So let's say that's going to be 6%. Enter. And then when I did pop in that 6%, that profit margin up at the top did take a little bit of a nosedive. But let's say we look at our comps one more time. Well, and it can go up to 734, and that's pretty high. 712 looks good, but let's say we did 7. What if we shot for 720? Enter. Okay, so I'm going to do 720. We've paid the agents. I want to put in 80,000 in renovations, and I do have this error, so I want to update that. And how I do that is up at the top where it says cash flow. I just need to put in that money. So I'm going to move through here, and these are all of my figures and what I'll be spending on a month-to-month basis for the 6 months that I hold the property. I'm going to move through here and then look for where it says renovations. So it says renovations. I'm going to pop that in and add it all in the first month. Is that 80,000? And then from here, now I can go back into the purchase sales section and I don't have an error. So up at the top, it's saying that if I used my own money, all cash, I would make a profit of 112,800. And then I would have a margin, or the profit margin is 15.67%. And that is right there, right? By the skin of your teeth. But 15% is good. 15% is good. If I refinanced, well, I'm sorry, if I used a lender, right, with debt, I didn't risk it all. I didn't use all of my money. I'm making a little less and my profit margin has dipped. But this is where you can kind of play around with this if you want to, right? You can either maybe see what your scenario looks like if you price lower, if you use less of a budget to renovate, if you sold it for higher. You can update these numbers and it can kind of give you an idea of your analysis. And if you wanted to share this with a customer, or if you wanted to share this, you can pull that information. So where do I go? I would go into File, and from File, I would go into Export. And from Export, you can decide, I want this as a PDF for my customer, or I want to go ahead and pull this as an Excel. Some of you can cook an egg on Excel. I'm going to go ahead and put in PDF. And you can pull that information, and this is what that report is going to look like with all of your with your analysis available for them. Okay, and then here you have that arrow to download. Here you have your printing icon, and of course you can always start fresh. So if you want to do it again, if you want to do another scenario, you do have File, New, File. And that'll bring you into a whole different category. So you can decide, all right, I did the scenario as a flip. Let me now do the scenario as a maybe a hold and see how much I can get it for. RPR is doing the analysis based on the numbers that I've put in and also the information that they pulled, because it's all coming from the same property card, Julia. Insurance, Sunny makes a great point. That could be another factor that you want to put in. Where's the cap rate on this report in this section, which is the flip? You don't have, I don't see the cap rate. The profit margin is on the right-hand side top, Pamela, but the cap rate, you can normally see that when you're going to do a hold, not on the quick flip, at least not here. I'm going to exit out of this report and I'm going to move back into Matrix. And of course, I do recommend you come in here, pick a property, play with your numbers. If you want a little tip, I have one for you. If you're interested in finding a great website that you can use for searching for liens, or if you want to see if they have any issues or etc. on that property before you move forward, like liens, open permits, violations, stuff like that, I have a website I want to share with you. It's called www.easytitlesearch.com. right? So I'm going to move through here, and let's say I'm going to order a report. You can either order one report and it's $54. You can order a package of 50 for $39.95 if this is what you do. You could do 10 reports, $49.95 for each. And I'm going to share this with you inside of the chat. This was a recommendation from other agents. So I want to share it with you. And of course, if you have a friend in a title company and they're going to do this for you in advance, pull your strings if you have them, make connections if you'd like. But this is another way that you can look. All right, I'm going to exit this out and I'm going to move back into Matrix and I'm going to do another exercise. So I'm going to click on search, RE1, RE2. And in this search, I want to learn, or I want to teach you guys how to search for properties using the remark fields that we added. So remarks can help you search for property that maybe needs that TLC, which are phrases that agents put in their remarks or the descriptions, letting you know, hey, this property is in rough shape. It belongs to an agent. It's not an REO. It's not a short sale. It's listed low. And it might have repairs that need to be put into it, etc. But how do you find these? In the remarks, you can add in phrases like TLC. And of course, you want to add in the asterisks on either side of TLC. If I just have the word TLC, it's going to look for just the word TLC within the remarks. And agents always are going to add additional phrases. So with the word TLC, we have 165 matches. In this case, I don't want any of the REOs to fall in or any of the short sales. So I have 146 properties that need a little TLC, which could affect the price point of that home in a negative way, which is good for us. If I want to add in another phrase, I'm going to put in a comma to separate it, and then I'm going to add in another asterisk. So maybe I want to do something like maybe handyman, because they use the phrase handyman special a lot. Have 181. And then sometimes they're like investor's dream, something like that. I can add in maybe the word investor. Right? So here, this is a way that you can use phrases that are most commonly used to find properties that are a little in distress that can provide for you a lower price point for a home. So I can click on search. I'm going to click on LP. And then we're going to begin with 10,000, right? This is in another country. So let me move into criteria. Single family. I have my phrases on the bottom. Not an REO, not a short sale. I'm working with the owner of the property. Okay, in this point. And then I can negotiate as is. So we have it's starting at 61,900. This is another way that you can search for property that could have a great deal for your customer. All right, let's do another one. Let's say, clicking on criteria, let's say you're working with a customer who's into the whole Airbnb situation. Another phrase that you can use is just that. So you can put in Airbnb. And there is 298. It's a lot of property. What's the term? Airbnb. So we have 298 matches. I'm going to click on results. Okay, and it'll say something like that, Airbnb friendly. So are these the only properties that are Airbnb friendly? No, but you know that the agent is already putting it in the remarks that they accept Airbnb, right? So of course, there's different ways that you can search for Airbnb. One of the options that you have is you can move into the rental search. RNT, residential rental, and you can look for short term. So whatever is short term, you can start taking a look at. Maybe what you want to add with this as well, clicking on criteria, is maybe possible restrictions. So something like, okay to lease first year owned. Maybe that's another option that you'd like, and that'll work better with a condo. Now, of course, this isn't a mandatory field. This is another way that you can search for property for those investors who are looking for a deal for property that is an Airbnb. All right, moving right along, guys. I want to talk to you a little bit about auction information. So if you are interested in that auction detail, so in the foreclosure process, before that property is purchased by the bank and reassigned to an agent as an REO, it goes through the process of an auction where the public can bid. Where do you find that information? I have another great website for you. So I'm going to open this up and I'm going to type in www.miamitrainers.realforeclosure.com and I'm going to click on enter. I'm going to open this up and just make sure to share it with you inside the chat. Why did I put the asterisks in the remarks? To give me better results. Without the asterisks, I will not pull anything. I'm moving pretty quickly, Maria, so maybe some of the criteria is a little different, but I do have this class recorded if you guys would like it. I can edit it and put it up if you would like to rewatch. Let me know in the chat. So you do want to put asterisks on either side of the word that you're looking for. So it'd be asterisk, TLC, asterisk. If you want to add more than one of those phrases, then you're going to put a comma between them. All right, let's talk about this auction site because I don't have a lot of time with you guys. If you want to register, where do you start? You can start right here. So this is Miami-Dade, the foreclosure site. If you're interested in another county where it says jump to, you can click on that drop down and you have all of the counties here in Florida. I'm focusing on Miami-Dade for now, but you do have the option. Here it says start here, or it says register. So I'm going to click on start here, and this is going to give you kind of some Q&A of what you would need, what equipment and software you need. Do you have to be present for the sale? So they normally start at 9 a.m. Some people are not even present. What do I need in order to participate in the sale? Bidders must register to the site. You get a username and a password, and you also need to put in a valid deposit. So you need to have 10% of your bid or your highest bid already deposited. Now, how can you get that deposit out to them? Oh, I'm sorry, it's not 10, it's 5% of your winning bid. So if you decide the highest I want to go on my bid is going to be 200,000, you need to have 5% of that bid already in the system, ready to go. How can you turn it in? You can either do cash. You can come in with your suitcase of money, or you can do a cashier's check, and they have a address for you. It needs to be made in person by 3 p.m. the previous day. If you're going to do a wire transfer, you could do it, but it's going to take 48 hours. What else? How do I pay my winning bid? That same within 24 hours, you need to pay the remaining amount that's due. And then they have, additional information that you can review. So can you change the bid? I know there's a question here somewhere about, can you change the bid? You can. So before the auction has started, so before 9 a.m., you can change your bid to either add additional funds or cancel before. Then they do it in increments of 100 until they get to your max bid. What else do I want to show you? I'm going to click back on the icon of the Miami-Dade Clerk of Court's official foreclosure and tax deed sales website. And I want to show you the auction calendar. So the auction calendar is going to show you when these foreclosures are happening. And I want to show you just how fast they happen. So I'm going to pick on foreclosure, the 3rd. The 4th was a holiday. And here you can see what has happened already. So from here, we have 3 pages of auctions that happened. And here you can see that the auction was sold. And the whole auction took 4 minutes. Starts at 9 a.m. It was done by 9:04. And the amount was $381,300 that was sold to a third-party bidder. So the plaintiff did not win. And their max bid was $262,016.95. The assessed value is listed here. The final judgment amount was $418,124.60. So you can review this. Now, of course, if you're looking at it after it happened, it's a little easier. You can pull the property. You can move back into your Miami Gateway, pull open iMapp, and you can look at comparables now. So I'm going to click on property address and paste that address in. I'm going to remove Miami, Florida, and then start my search. View comparables. Let's see if I have anything. And it goes up to 583,100, right? So from 533,900 all the way to 583,100. And what did they pay? 381,300. So we need to, that's the magic, trying to figure out how can I win, outbid the bank, which is the plaintiff, but still be able to have a good deal, right? So sometimes it doesn't go through. So this was canceled per order. They figured out how to extend that. Canceled per bankruptcy, canceled per order. Here we have where the plaintiff won, right? So the bank got it. This whole thing took, well, this was 24 minutes that this went through, and they got it for $1,000,004 and some, the final judgment. Now, when you purchase this, you are still purchasing this with people inside. If there's people inside, it's your responsibility to get them out. If there's any liens, if there's any issues, right? So you want to do your due diligence as much as you can. So that's why I wanted to give you that little website. And if you are going to look, so here's the auction calendar one more time. Go in advance, move into maybe August, September, get ready, give yourself some space to see the properties available, right? And you can take a look at them and start previewing how much you want to put in your bid and stuff like that. All right. Did you guys like this? This is a great website. You have the other option as well. On Thursdays, they have tax deed information. So this is those individuals who haven't paid their taxes for 2 years. Somebody else can come in, bid on those taxes. Of course, I'm not an expert in this. You can find more information about that. You can read through it. They have training dates, right? They have the tax deed sales process and training links if you really want to deep dive. But sometimes, eventually they'll pay for those taxes when somebody purchases that home, or maybe if you held it long enough, you can foreclose that property. So they have reserved these tax deeds for Thursdays. What do I want to wrap up with you guys? I have gone through all things. I guess the last little bit that I have for you, and you guys went over with me, and I appreciate that, is just different auction sites that you should be aware of. So you have auction.com, which I'll share with you guys, that you can register and review properties. And click paste so you guys have that. Another popular site is going to be hubzoo.com. So sometimes when you're looking at these properties that are REOs, they are going to send you to these they're going to send you over to these websites to put in your bids. directly with the site. So you want to make sure that you are registered. If you are interested in working foreclosures, they do have additional designations that you can get, but just to let you know, most time a bank doesn't want to work with an individual person. They normally want to work with a company who specializes in foreclosure. So I want to send you some of these sites that you want to be aware of and kind of give you an overview. So in today's class, we were able to look at different things. We were able to search inside of Matrix. We took a look at REO information, short sale information. We worked our remarks, different terms that you can use. We did Airbnb with possible restrictions. We looked at the whole picture of REO information of REO information on iMapp. So you can just see how many of those properties are actually on the market compared to how many properties are still in the possession of the bank that have not been unloaded with us. And then you even saw how many properties haven't reached the auction points as of yet that maybe you can assist. We did a practice analysis of a property where we saw if we can maybe flip it and how much return we can get on that. We also talked about our auction website, and I shared some websites with you that you can use, auction sites that you can get familiar with. And then of course that easy title search website that you can look into that I think is fantastic if you're interested in doing your own liens. And then even our sponsor was really good because he specializes in just short sales. So if you need that process, if you need a particular person to hold your hand as an agent on how to do that, we have our sponsor today that could help you with that. Now, if you wanted to see real live flips, do you guys want to see that? If you wanted to look at real life flips and what's happening in an area, look at Matrix. Look at Matrix and see, are people taking the time to flip a property and how is it that they're updating it and what's the money that they're getting? So for example, I would do a search, RE1, RE2, active and closed. I'm looking at 180 days right now, but I'm going to do 365. And I'm just going to pick an area. So we were working in Hialeah is the property that I wanted to flip. And I'm going to click on Hialeah. And I'm going to focus on those single families. And then I'm going to click on results. So once you do that, you want to kind of take a look at where your addresses are. You're going to click on address. This is it's a little painstaking, but you can find them. So for example, here's one where they've recently purchased it, same year. They purchased it for $660,000. They're selling it for $679,999. So you can take a look, okay, what these individuals do between the flip, and then you can kind of make your way through the addresses to find other properties that they have flipped in the area. So maybe page 2. I want to do like one more example. If I can find one. If you guys find one, put the numbers in the chat. Here's another one. Right? So 625, they purchased it at 625. It's listed now for 679. All right, one more. Fingers crossed. Here's another one. And this one, both of these are closed. Oh no, this is not another one. That's not the same address. I'll do one more page, see if I can find one more. Okay. There's another one, and here's another one. Oh no, that's not it. All right, so I found a few of them, and then I'm going to take a look at refine, and I'm going to click on narrow. So anything I clicked on is the information that I'll be able to pull. And I've looked at it briefly, not even a minute, maybe a minute, but you can see, all right, here's the closed sale. You can take a look at it previously. This is what it looked like. Did they put anything into it? We can take a look. Okay, they did a little something, something. They cleared it. They changed the floors. They gave it some paint, and it's back on the market. And they've got this price, sales price 540. And then they want to turn around within the year and sell it for 629. So you can look at real examples of what's happening in the area, what kind of changes they've made to the property. Okay, let's take a look at now the property that they're listing. Okay, they cleaned it out. They did some paint, they did some remodeling, and it's back on the market. So, ooh, look at me. It's like a little, I'm like, I love these stairs, so pretty. So this is real life situations of people doing what it is that other people are interested in doing. And this is a great way to show an individual, look, this is the movement in this area. This is what people are doing. This is kind of the turnaround that you can expect. This is the percentages or the changes in margins. You can always come back to the original results. You can select all of these properties. So click on the button that says all at the top. And under actions, you can export. It'll give you everything. And then you can continue to analyze. So with that, guys, it was a pleasure being with you. I loved working with you guys this morning. I will be having this class in a little bit, I think like at 1 p.m. in Spanish. But thank you for being here. Thank you for being Miami members. I will do my best to have it recorded and available for you and send you out the recording. Bye, guys.